Good morning, everyone. Thank you for participating. And all those who are here present, thank you for coming on this important occasion. And on June 10th, in the early morning hours up in Palmdale, we initiated a death investigation as a result of finding Robert Fuller, who had died. And this death investigation obviously is of great concern to the community, not only of Palmdale, but throughout the nation. And I've received emails and communications all since Wednesday till now. My emails, my phone is constantly ringing about concerns about this. It means a lot to a lot of people, obviously because of the social unrest and concerns about the actions of police in light of the tragic murder of George Floyd up into now this. And it touches in everyone's heart because Robert Fuller was a young man in the prime of his life, and his death obviously is painful for many people. So my condolences to the Fuller family, and we hopefully with this death investigation will answer all the questions and we'll give full closure to what happened here. And it is our interest to make sure that we leave no rock unturned. I reached out to Attorney General Javier Becerra, and they are now going to provide a monitor and review all of our investigation to make sure we didn't leave any rock unturned. I've also reached out to the FBI. I spoke to a special agent in charge, Viviette Morgan, and she indicated the Civil Rights Division of the FBI will also be monitoring this investigation. So we're making sure that we're transparent, fully accountable, and we're going to constantly be cross-checking each other's to make sure we arrive at the right conclusions based on the evidence and the facts that we have at hand.
My name is Daryl Osby. Good morning. I'm the fire chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Upon arrival, there was no one on scene except for the fact that upon arrival, the paramedics found a male hanging from a tree. The two paramedics made an assessment and determined that the patient was deceased. The incident was turned over to the Sheriff's Department, and the Los Angeles County Fire Department and the members that were unseen from the Los Angeles County Fire Department are fully cooperating with the investigations by the Sheriff's Department. Once again, on behalf of the Los Angeles County Fire Department, our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Robert Fuller.
Good morning. My name is Kent Wegener. I'm the captain of Sheriff's Homicide. What I wanted to do is provide some detail regarding the status of the investigation and what is on our list of things to do and to accomplish before the conclusion of the investigation. Initially, we are going to do forensics on the rope that was involved, physical analysis and tests of serology nature by our crime lab. We'll also dissect the involved knot structure to determine how they were tied. We're going to continue with the video canvas to see if we can identify any surveillance video or home video which captures the events around the scene. We will be in contact with the caseworker for the victim, Robert Fuller, from the Department of Social Services. We will be researching his medical history, both locally and in the states of Arizona and Nevada, where we believe he resided for a period of time. We look to contact the witness who located him in the park and those who may have seen him in the past few days prior to his death. We have a cellular phone that belonged to the victim. We are going to do cellular analysis of that, and that is now in progress.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Lucas. I'm the Chief Medical Examiner Coroner for the County of Los Angeles. I simply want to start by offering condolences to the family of Mr. Fuller, as well as to his friends and the entire community of Palmdale. Our department first became aware of the death on the morning of June 10th when we were notified by law enforcement shortly after 4 o'clock at 4:12 a.m. A complete autopsy was performed on June 12th, and we are still awaiting results on toxicology at this time. We are also looking into additional historical information, including medical history, trying to learn more about him, and of course, as I mentioned, the toxicology results. We don't have much to release at this time, other than we're going to continue to evaluate the evidence as it comes in, independently make an assessment as to the cause and manner of death, but we will not do that until we have all the history and toxicology and evidence analysis that is currently pending.
Yes, good morning. And this could be for the sheriff or for Dr. Lucas. Can you explain what the caseworker was for Mr. Fuller? I mean, why did he have a caseworker? Also, both the Sheriff's Department and the ME has said that initial findings rule a suicide, or it was consistent with a suicide. Do you still stick with that assessment? Thank you.
We have identified the caseworker, but we have not yet interviewed that caseworker. So until we have that information, we won't be able to answer that question.
The initial reports appeared to be consistent with a suicide, but we felt it prudent to roll that back and continue to look deeper, which is why currently, officially, the case is still deferred and under investigation.
What sort of evidence was found at the scene? Was there a chair, a stool, something like that to indicate potential foul play?
Regarding a chair or something similar found at the scene, there was nothing. There was nothing else found at the scene other than the rope, which was used to hang the victim, and the contents of his pocket, as well as a backpack that he was wearing.
I was wondering if you could explain to me, in more detail, what factors led you to initially label the death of Robert Fuller as a suicide? And second, if you could answer whether there have been other instances of similar suicides within the county of hanging in public, and if this is something that has been a common trend, and why you would have made this assumption that this is a suicide. Thank you.
In general, a suicide in public or hanging in a public place is not unheard of. They do occur, and I think initially there wasn't any evidence or information that led us to believe that there was anything other than a suicide. But that changed very. I should say we felt better that we should look into a little more deeply and carefully, just considering all the circumstances at play. But I don't have numbers for you, but I do know that hangings in public suicides do occur with some regularity.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on the previous question that was asked. I guess I'm wondering if sheriff's investigators, can anyone describe the initial scene in more detail and talk about why the death was ruled or was initially looked at as a suicide?
I just want to be clear, there was not an official determination of suicide, although initial signs seemed to point that direction. The death certificate never said suicide, and we have appropriately deferred the cause and manner of death for the additional investigation. So often in any investigation, there is an initial impression, but that the investigation and the analyses that follow will inform the final conclusion. That's where we are right now.
Sheriff, I want to ask real quick. I asked you earlier about the caseworker, and you said that you were trying to find the caseworker. My question was, what type of a caseworker was it? Why did Mr. Fuller need a caseworker? Also, to the coroner, you've been tap dancing around this question that my colleagues and I have been asking, and that's, what did you find at the scene or on that person that would lead you to believe initially that was suicide? I mean, you had to have something specific that led you to that initial conclusion. And also to either Detectives Wegener or Dean, did you get any information from the family that would lead you to why Mr. Fuller did this?
The casework is from the Department of Public Social Services. So he was receiving some form of a benefit from the county, and as a result, he's assigned a caseworker. Exactly what the nature of that was, we don't know, but we know it's DPSS.
Thank you. Again, to the point about what would have led us to believe that the death might have been a suicide at the beginning was more the lack of any evidence that there was any foul play at the time. That's about all I can say. I mean, it was he was hanging, and there was no other information to suggest that there was foul play at the time. So further investigation is ongoing, but that's why we were thinking in that direction early on.
Right. Regarding the conversation with the family, whether or not there was a motive on the part of the victim to commit suicide, that information that we did receive, although brief, is being followed up on, and until we can verify the credibility of that, we're not going to comment on it.